Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Between Two Preachers. I'm your host, Colby,
I'm your other host, Carson.
and we got a lot to talk about this week.
A lot going on this week. I know a lot of us seen a very, very special person. Phil Robertson passed away. He went back to be with Jesus recently this week. I know you saw that, Colby.
Yep, I did, and it really shocked me because I had, the day before I found out, or whenever it happened, I had just turned on the blind and finished that movie, and then the day after that evening, I got the news that he passed.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. I told you I just finished watching it today, kind of in preparation for this podcast. But I mean, for me, I don't know. Since he died, I don't know. You kind of saw the impact he had on the world with his ministry. I guess it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, what he meant to everybody and how he helped out the faith.
Yeah, just the kind of man he was. It was. I don't know. He'll be missed. I know. Me and you kind of grew up watching Duck Dynasty and kind of relate to them a lot.
Sure did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's tough, but he's going back to be with the Lord, so you can't help but be happy for that.
Yeah, he's in a much better place now.
So, me and you were talking about what was your review on the blind? What would you say?
I'll be honest, if you want my complete honesty, I went into it thinking that it was going to be one of those kind of cheesy Christian movies. I know that isn't very, I guess, Christian-like of me to sit there. But I'm talking about how they're all,
Yeah.
not all of them, but a lot of them are kind of, I guess the best
Yeah.
way to put it is cheesy in a little way.
Yeah.
And stuff. And I got to say, for me, on a Christian movie scale, that was about a 10 out of 10. I mean, you don't hardly get much better than that. It really showed, I guess what hooked me was, in a way, how it almost still had some of the roughness of, the world and stuff like that. Went into it, it had a little bit of cussing in it and stuff like that. And, I mean, no bad, I guess... they're all
no
bad
GDs.
words, but no GDs, no F words, nothing like that. And I don't know, it gave it some more realism, I guess, is how I'd put it, and made it hit a little bit closer to home. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it didn't pull any punches, I'd say, and I think that definitely helped it out a lot. It gave it a lot of realism. I kind of went into it expecting, with it being a Christian movie, he'd just be, drinking a beer here and there, and I don't know, I wasn't expecting it to go quite as hard in the paint as it did with, his past, and showed the real ugly sides of it the way it did. But I'm kind of with you. I was kind of expecting to be a lot like those other Christian movies, and I gotta admit, a lot of them still, I really enjoy them. Like I don't know, like Facing the Giants and what's up?
What is it? The Fire Ring or something like that? Fireproof.
Yeah, Fireproof.
That's
That one's that's a really good one. Then there's Courageous. That one's a good one. But you got the ones like God's Not Dead, which is kind of cheesy, and it's got like that atheist professor. And I've only seen like little reviews of it, and he's just like almost like
I've
a
seen it
stereotypical villain. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they all, they kind of all follow that, archetype, I guess you'd say. You know what I'm talking about? If I'm making any sense.
Yeah. Yeah, it was...
It just, the realism is what really hooked me and stuff, and it made me think, you know what, this is actually a pretty good one. And it's been so long since I've seen, Fireproof and Courageous and Facing the Giants and stuff. I remember when I was little, Mom and Dad would rent a movie or something like that. It was kind of like a Friday night weekend thing, and
yeah.
I remember one time they rented that and watched it, and I was so little I didn't hardly understand what was going on. Or
yeah, I know what you're talking about. I remember we went to watch Courageous in the movies, and I knew it was a police movie. And being a little kid, all I wanted to see was some killing and explosions. and and
Some action.
I went to the yeah, I wanted to see some action, but I went to the bathroom, and the time I went to the bathroom, like the only little shootout in that whole movie happened. But yeah, but I would definitely recommend watching it now with a kind of a different heart, because I don't know, I know you like me, you kind of have a soft heart for that kind of stuff, and
Yeah.
I think it'll do you some good. I think you'd really enjoy it.
Yeah, I'll have to. One thing it was kind of on my mind the other day is that, and I don't want to get off topic here, but I'm going to chase this rabbit just a little bit.
All
uh,
right.
Whenever we were little, we used to have like movie night and stuff. I don't know about you or anything. I'm sure y'all
Yeah.
did too, but and I can remember when I was real little going to the video store, and
Yeah.
Dad, Mom, they'd pick them out a movie, and normally they'd get us one to watch in our room or whatnot. But I look at like my daughter and stuff like that, and we don't do that anymore. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Everybody's on their phones and stuff, and I'm trying to get better about that. Like,
Yeah. Everybody's kind of
just
floating into their own screens.
yeah, that's a good way to put it. Like if Kenzie's watching something on TV, half the time I'm dealing with TikTok or something,
Yeah.
and the other night we watched a movie, and it was just a little bit above little girl's pay grade, but we felt like a family. I almost hadn't felt that since I was little,
Yeah.
like got hit with a sense of nostalgia, I guess I'd say.
Uh, yeah. That's something I try to do with Amanda all the time. She can't stay awake through a movie to save her life. I'm telling you, she'll she'll get about 15 minutes in, and she will be conked out, just slept tired and just dead.
Well, on the bright side, you don't get asked questions every 5 minutes on what's going on.
Yeah, hopefully my boy will kind of enjoy watching some movies. I'll try to get him into some stuff where I kind of failed with her.
I'm
But
sure we will.
oh yeah, yeah. I got to where I enjoy Christian movies. I've never sat down and watched God's Not Dead. I was one of them. I've just seen the reviews on it. I've seen like little summaries of it, and it just didn't look very good. And I just never really gave it a shot. But all the other ones
Yeah.
I watched, I got a bundle of them, and they were all pretty good. Me and Amanda used to watch those about every night, but I really enjoy them.
Yeah. It's nice to find something halfway wholesome that you can watch with little ears in the room. You know what I'm talking about? And even like us as adults, but once you really get into the faith and stuff, I find that like I just have no interest in something with a bunch of like nudity or bad
Cussing and
language.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But let's
I'm the
jump
same
on
way.
into. I don't mean to cut you off, but let's jump on into our videos that we each posted. You want to talk about which ones, or you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. Well, you got the most recent one, so you go ahead and plug yours real quick. Give us a rundown on it.
All right. Well, mine was out of Proverbs chapter 18, verse 10, and it was on. I'll go ahead and read the verse. I got my Bible open right here. This is out of the NIV, but the name of the Lord is a fortified tower. The righteous run to it and are safe. What really jumped out at me was, I'll repeat it like I did. Whenever we were in seminary, I remember the professor, if that's what you want to call him, teacher, professor, whatever. He was talking about how Jesus inhabits His name just as we do, and
Yeah,
there's power in His name. That's what me and you have no power. I mean, if we go to rebuke something, we do it in His name and stuff. That's our
yeah.
safe place, is in Him and in His name. You see what I'm saying?
Uh huh.
And whenever we feel something evil coming on, or if we feel just anything really. I mean, it could be having a bad day. I mean, just you've been grumpy all day or something, and like I said in the video, instead of hollering out a cuss word and getting mad and into the flesh and all that, just set your eyes back on Him. Holler out His name instead of a curse word. You know, you talk to Jesus. Say, Jesus, I'm just having a rough time. Can you help me out? Or anything along them lines. And boy, I tell you, He's there. Like I said in the video, He inhabits His name. You may not feel Him or see Him, but He's there. I mean, He's just like Daddy watching out. I look at that relationship a lot. I see it in my daughter. You know what I'm talking about? Like, sometimes she's struggling with something, like building blocks or something like that, but it's better for me to stand back and watch her and let her struggle a little bit so she actually learns something. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
But believe you me, I'm never whenever I'm home and not at work, I'm never out of earshot.
Yeah.
All she's got to holler and here I come, and I'm gonna put a pop knot on somebody's head.
Yeah, there was kind of two verses came to my mind when I was listening to yours. Is I'm not good at throwing out verses. I think they were in John. It was one was
paraphrase it.
He says if you pray to Him and ask Him for something, He's not gonna. If you ask for bread, He's not gonna give you a stone. What good was that? You know what I'm talking about? That verse there.
Yeah, I'm thinking out of Matthew. They parallel all of them, but
yeah, it might be Matthew, but for some reason that one kind of came to my mind. And what was the other one? Heck, I can't think of it right now, but yeah, I think it's pretty solid. If y'all don't know the TikTok, it is between two preachers, as in the number 2, and then
same as the name on the podcast and all. If you ever
same as the name on the podcast. Yeah.
For simplicity's sake, we tried to keep it all the same.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We kind of put our what we call little micro sermons on there. But what made you jump into Proverbs?
I don't know really. I kind of felt I'm gonna be honest. I've been in almost like a spiritual dry spell. I'd even talked to the preacher about it, and I mean it was kind of like I told him. I look around and I see God's blessings everywhere that He's given me, but it was almost like if I felt the Holy Spirit on me and I did something being led by it, it was almost like it disappeared. You know what I'm talking about? Like I always wanted to be one, or I still do, and I come up short, and that's just part of being human. But I want to be one of them type people where the Holy Spirit can tell me to do something, such as tell that man right there you love him, or something like that, and I listen.
Yeah.
And talking to the preacher, he he kind of helped put my mind at ease a little bit on it. He said, a lot of times you'll find that in God's growing your ministry, He's just got to kind of step back and let you see how far you can go, and if you do right. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So, I jumped in the Bible, and it was worrying me real heavily because I wasn't having anything jumping out at me or, speaking to me like the Holy Spirit normally does whenever I'm reading. But it kind of goes back to that sermon that Brian, your pastor Brian, preached on, and we kind of have to stir up fan the flames, I guess is a good way to put it, like stir it up in ourselves sometimes, and put the fire back in our bones ourselves. You know what I'm talking about? I'm probably doing a terrible job of explaining it, but
yeah,
I think you'll remember the one I'm talking about.
Yeah, I think I do. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, me and you've been discussing. I've been going through the same muck, trying to wade through the swamp, the same kind of dry spell going on, and trying to find any way to get out of it. I think me and you kind of seen the light at the end of the tunnel. We might have challenges here and there to overcome.
it felt like it sure enough broke for me, and I'm trying to do my best and just let the Holy Spirit envelop me. You know what I'm talking about, and just trying to do what I'm supposed to. Keeping my nose in the Bible, and if something jumps out at me, it jumps out at me, and uh, you know,
Yeah, yeah. Something I kind of, I kind of catching myself on here lately is I kind of feel like I'm getting out of that dry spell, and you just feel good getting out of that dry spell. But kind of
yeah,
for
I
me,
know.
I'm kind of just so happy being out of that dry spell. I'm kind of just running all over the place. Kind of makes me think about those cows. When they lock them up during the winter, and you see them open the doors and they'll go to running and kicking every which way. Just so happy to be out of there, but and I'm not doing good about keeping my nose in the Bible quite as much. I need to get back in it, but
Yeah,
but
I had to let it slip. Like, I mean, I had there at one point, I had no desire whatsoever to open my Bible and stuff. It was just like, ugh, you know. And I know
yeah,
it's bad to say as a preacher, but I mean, it,
no, it's,
God's leading
yeah.
me. You know what I'm talking about? I mean,
uh, no, I guarantee every single preacher in the world will tell you the same thing. They've been through it and dealt
I
with it.
think you're right.
I mean, I know Dad has. I know I'm positive Brian has. You said your preacher has. That's just one of them things.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, dear Lord, in a way, it's like, I'm here, dear Lord. You know what I'm talking about? I mean,
Yeah.
and it just makes you take a hard step back and look at yourself and stuff. Not saying that's what I needed to, and not saying that I'm holier than thou or anything. But you know what I'm talking about. It
Uh
just
huh.
makes you take a big step back and look at everything and try to cover all angles. And
Uh huh.
there's still things I need to work on. I mean, same as everybody.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's definitely one of those things where he's kind of. I feel like he's using this to kind of sanctify us and makes more like him and kind of our just cleansing.
Grow
Just
us.
get up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Grow us. Stretch out our patience. Stretch out our faith as far as he can get it because he's got something big on the horizon. And I know you you had kind of sent me that church. I kind of feel like you did it halfway a joke, but
I
I don't
did
know it.
halfway. it would be
Yeah.
it would be fun one day to for you who don't everybody who doesn't know I just was scrolling Facebook Marketplace. That's kind of my pastime, and there was a church for sale, not probably 15 minutes from each of our houses, and or about, probably 20 for me, probably 10 for you, but uh, that's what we're talking about. It was for sale, and I sent it to him. Said, "You want to go in on halves?" Joking, but one day
Yeah.
that's what I aspire. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
I kind of feel it in my bones. You know what I'm talking about? But
Uh huh. Yeah. Man, I was looking. I was like, dang, that would be a great thing to do. Be able to go in the halves on that and buy that, and because I think that'd be just about a perfect start. It's in a perfect area. I don't know. But
but the sad thing is, whenever you have to finally step out in faith like that, is you have to leave your comfort zone, and that right there would absolutely like just stink to me. Is to I've finally I know that you found your church and been kind of got in real good and know everybody. Not that you're trying to get in good, but you know what I'm saying. Like it's
yeah,
home to you, just like my church is home to me. I couldn't stand hardly go. Like I'd feel like I was cheating if I went to visit another church and just to visit and say hello. And it'd be like a little piece of your heart gets ripped out.
yeah, yeah. I know exactly how you feel on that. That's kind of. I mean, it's kind of how I feel visiting your church. I know that's what the preacher wants us to do is to go out and help other churches, but I don't know. It just kind of stinks or just not doesn't stink. It just kind of like feels makes you feel bad a little bit, you know.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Makes you feel a
But
little unfaithful.
uh, let's talk about your video that you put out. You put out one a couple days before I did. We try to give them a little bit of time in between so that they can both kind of play out before we upload. And
Yeah.
but let's jump on yours. What you talked about.
All right. Yeah, I was in Genesis chapter 13. I was in verses 8 and 9, and I explained in the video, Lot and Abram, they're, who becomes Abraham, they're herdsmen were kind of going at each other, and what, to kind of keep his love for Lot, he kind of tells him, you know what, you just got to go your way, and I'll go mine, and I don't know, it kind of stuck with me, and I was like, that'd make for a pretty good sermon, because
Yeah.
we, on a day-to-day basis, for some of us, encounter people we just don't really like, and they might not like us, but we're called to love everybody. So
Sometimes working towards the same cause and stuff like that, and to spread the word, sometimes you have to separate in a way.
oh yeah, and something I kind of wanted to clarify, and I clarified it with somebody in the comments, is to always keep a open heart with them, and kind of keep a love with them, and not to write them off and what's the word?
Hatred.
Yeah, let it turn into hatred. Just if they ever want to come back to you and make things right with you, always keep that door open for them. You don't want to excommunicate them completely, just with no hope of coming back. It's just kind of almost kind of take a little sabbatical from them in a way. Just
a little break.
Yeah, I don't. But always keep a forgiving heart with them. And I kind of heard a while back somebody said that forgiveness isn't a one-time thing. It's something you got to do every single day.
That's right.
And you gotta forgive them daily, and keep a loving heart with them, and
It's just
always
like me and
be
you
welcome
talked. It's just like me and you talked about, and I even talked about it with the preacher. I think you did the video on it, and it was pretty good. If you say that you forgive, but you don't forget it, I mean, how's that true forgiveness? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
If you just waiting to bring it up, like, say somebody, I don't know, drove a car over your foot, and you just you say, well, I forgive you, and you're supposed to let it die right there. You know what I'm talking about? Don't bring it back up whenever, a month from now, whenever we're having a conversation, and then, well, you did that time run over my foot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that just shows there's no forgiveness there. If you're wanting to bring it back up, no. Yeah, something that the reason that kind of stuck with me, it stuck with me for a while, since probably since early in my Christian walk, because I can't blame her in this, but Mom's uncle, he got murdered, and the guy is still sitting in prison for it, and when his parole comes up, I think they're always kind of hoping he's sent back into prison. And I asked her, and she says, I've forgiven him, but I don't want him out of prison. And I kind of wonder, it's like, if you really forgive him, wouldn't you want the best for him? Wouldn't you? You know what I'm talking about? I mean, maybe I'm wrong on that.
I completely see where you're coming from and stuff, and you can also see where somebody like her comes from.
Oh yeah.
Whenever.
Yeah.
But sometimes I feel like, I feel like sometimes, and this is just kind of getting into Colby here, but if you murder somebody, you kind of have the right to rot in prison. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. I agree with that.
Took an innocent life. Why? I mean, I don't even know if you should be let out. You know what I'm saying? Not that I'm disagreeing with you or anything.
No, I agree.
I have no grudge against them or something. Good Lord's blessed me that I ain't had to deal with anything like that. and I pray that he doesn't. But it, you know what I'm talking about? It's kind of like they broke the laws. They almost kind of forfeit their rights in a way too. You know what I'm talking about? I mean,
Yeah.
but that gets in death penalty and all that, and let's not go down that rabbit hole.
Well, you kind of blocked me on that because I was about to go down that rabbit hole, but yeah, I agree. Yeah, I
I mean,
totally
if you
agree.
want to chase that rabbit, let's chase that rabbit.
I mean, I wasn't even going to go deep down it, but I was just going to say, yeah, I do think he should still be in prison, and it's not because I never met my uncle that got killed. I never met him. I don't even
I
hardly
guess
know what
that's
he
where
looks
I'm
like.
coming out of is like kind of how you feel, I guess, and I'm gonna do my best to. I guess I'll say like not so much that you hate him or still want him in prison. He just broke a law, and to me, murder's one of them laws that I mean you break, you kind of forfeit yourself. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I think he should still be in prison. I 100% see where my mom's coming from. It wasn't like coming from a place of like a Pharisee or anything, but
Yeah.
it was just kind of like a philosophical kind of thing.
Yeah. Those questions, you know, it says iron sharpens iron. I mean, conversations like that are good discussion. You know what I'm talking about? I mean, there's all sorts of paraphrasing here, but like in Proverbs, you know, seeking counsel, and I'm sure I butchered it up, but you know what I'm talking about? Like
Yeah,
discussion and stuff like that helps everybody come to a agreement and what I guess is right, if that's what you want to say.
uh-huh. Yeah, that one's kind of probably not a great example. Just because I mean I guess we all agree he should still be in prison, but I just because he didn't murder somebody, but that's
They shouldn't harbor a
probably
grudge to him and hope that he's still, you know, I guess
yeah,
I see what you say, and I'm sure everybody else does too. It's just hard to put
yeah,
words to it.
yeah, yeah. Probably a better example would be like what you said, running over somebody's foot rather than a loved one getting murdered.
You just took it right out of left field over.
But do you have any idea where the next sermon's going to come out of?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's gonna come out of Proverbs, man. There's just so much in here
Yeah.
that I mean, it's like every page. I mean, if I truly dug deep enough, I could find something else. And truthfully, I marked a few more. I don't know how you feel about writing in your Bible, but I put a little check mark beside some stuff. And
Yeah, yeah. I haven't really got into Proverbs yet. It's one of them that I'm kind of eyeing because I know it's just one of those things. It's probably like for like a preacher, it's just one of the best verse or one of the best one of the best books you can really go out of because there's just so
oh
many
man,
things you can kind
there's
of pull
so much
from.
wisdom in Proverbs. It ain't even funny. I mean it's things that you can put. It'd be talking about one thing, but you can put it. It makes sense to another. You know what I'm talking about? Not saying that you're
Uh
like
huh.
pulling from here and you know what I'm saying. Not like how like all them prosperity preachers. You know, well Jesus said give to the poor and He'll bless. And you know what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
it it just there's so many things that can apply to different things too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Uh,
It's one of them I'm ready to get into because one of my favorite verses in the Bible is the wicked flee when no man pursueth, but the righteous are
Yeah,
bold as a lion. That is Proverbs, ain't it? I'm
I
pretty
don't know
sure
if
that
it is or
is.
not. I'm sure it is. I've not really
I'm almost
glanced real hard at it.
99% sure it is. Let's see here. Yeah, it's definitely one I'm ready to get into, and also Psalms.
Yeah, the Psalms they're just a little bit different. You know what I'm talking about? Not that I don't like them or anything, but it's more like poetry in a way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, kind of like prayers and stuff.
Yeah, praise and stuff. I like them too. I mean, I've glanced at them, and it almost like you see, just for example, like whenever I believe Psalms was that David or was that
Yeah, it was David.
yeah, like that's what I thought. And but like whenever he's like singing us or writing the Psalms, like for example, I just flipped over here 136. Give thanks to the Lord for He is good. His love endures forever. Give thanks to the God of gods. His love endures forever. Give thanks to the Lord of lords. His love endures forever. It that was just a snippet of it, but it almost makes me kind of in my heart sing it. You know what I'm talking about? And I know that probably sounds silly. 20, I forget my age, but 25-year-old man sitting there trying to hum a tune to it. You know what I'm talking about? But I mean, it just makes me happy in my heart.
Yeah.
But anyways, before we jump to the next thing, let's take a short break real quick. We'll be right back. And we're back, everybody.
Good to have everybody back. Thank you. We had to take a short little potty break, but we are back.
Well, let's jump on into. There's some other proverbs that stuck out to me, and I figured it'd be good to discuss them here on air, if you will.
All right. Yeah, I'll
All right.
let you lead the conversation on that.
I had one that jumped out at me. It's chapter 17, verse 5, and it'd be fun to get each other's thoughts on this one. But
All right.
whoever mocks the poor shows contempt for their maker. Whoever gloats over disaster will not go unpunished. You want to lead off, or you want to let me?
You go ahead.
All right. Well, the second part is what really, in this day and age, speaks to me because, it says, whoever gloats over disaster will not go unpunished. And I'm reading out of the NIV. I hear you flipping through the Bible too. And so I'm sure it'll be a little bit different. But, in this day and age, just for example, what stuck out to me is the Russia-Ukraine war. One side get ahead and, hit some infrastructure or something like that, and then the other side do something. And, you kind of see on each end of the political spectrum, whichever side you are, whoever you're looking for, you have people that pull for Russia and celebrate and get all happy that, oh, Russia's whooping Ukraine, and then vice versa whenever something happens there and gloat. So say what you want to. That's a disaster. I mean, honestly, you got to think them are people, human beings, just as you and I too.
Yeah.
And I mean, being happy that they got an airstrike and it killed so many people or something like that. That's nothing to be happy over.
No. Oh no. And it's the same political thing. I mean, there was people gloating when Trump got shot, and I'm sure there was people gloating. I don't keep up with political stuff, and I'm not in that sphere. But
Biden got cancer, or
yeah, whenever Biden got cancer, yeah, it's just, and I think it makes it pretty clear here that kind of stuff. That's they're kind of asking for disaster in a way.
Don't gloat over it now.
No.
But in a way, too, it just jumped out at me. It's a sad thing. Some Christians, quotation mark Christians, seems like they gloat over some of the folks that are going to hell. It's sad. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
The ones, I know that you've seen them and stuff. It's almost like, well, you're going to hell, and they're almost happy in it and stuff. You know what I'm talking about? That's sad. You need to have pity on them people. And I'm not coming off no high horse by any means, but I think everybody knows what I'm saying here.
Yeah, it's almost kind of like what I was talking about in my one sermon about wanting to beat people over the head with Jesus. Kind of in that way, kind of the direction I was kind of going with it. Kind of using. It's kind of
so they
kind of feel good.
On a high horse.
Yeah, they kind of feel good. They're going to hell, and them themselves are going to heaven. I'm with you on that.
Then I had another one. It's chapter 20, verse 24, and this is a good one here. It'll preach. uh, I'm gonna read it. A person's steps are directed by the Lord. How then can anyone understand their own way? It jumped out to me that, just like me and you talked about, like, uh, things happen and we don't understand why. It's like, I mean, why? Why can't I do this now? Or why did it have to rain? Or why did this have to break? And then a little while later, you're solving problems that have come up and stuff, and you bump into somebody, and the Holy Spirit like knocks you over the head and says, "Hey, say something to that man," or something. You know what I'm talking about? Like it's like you can't let it go. It's that feeling for me. It's deep inside my heart that you know what I'm talking about, that I ain't doing right. Whenever I get a thought pop into my head, and I try to cram it down and push it way down deep and put it out of my mind, but I can't. And you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And but that right there is explaining it. He's leading us. He's placing our steps for us and stuff, and He's gonna put us right where He wants us. It doesn't matter whether we understand it or not. It's a matter of His will, not ours. And it
Yeah.
doesn't matter if we understand it or we don't. He's got a purpose for us.
Oh yeah. And I think you kind of found the answer to our little dry spell, kind of
Yeah,
or spiritual warfare we've been going through. For me, I'm kind of just wondering. I'm trying to do all these things right. I'm trying to do all this, but why do these things keep happening? Why do I keep, you know, dealing with this junk that I'm dealing with on a daily basis? Why don't? But I'm not. I can't see, where God's leading me. I can't see none of that.
man, we can't see
you know, I,
we can't see a step ahead. I mean, we don't know what tomorrow holds. You know what I'm talking about?
yeah, uh huh. Yeah, we just see a tiny little square inch of the massive painting that he's creating. That's
That's
all we
that's
can
a
see.
pretty way to put it right there.
Uh huh. We can't see the road ahead of us at all. We just all we see is the trees passing by. Sometimes we might think they're ugly, but he's driving to a beautiful destination for us.
That's right.
We just gotta ride.
That's right. Let's jump into chapter 20, verse 18. I'm gonna backtrack a little bit.
All right.
Plans are established by seeking advice. So if you wage war, obtain guidance.
What you got on that one?
Well, to me, it goes to our battle's not flesh and blood. It's spiritual. And I forget where, but it says that the word is, or I'm gonna paraphrase here, but something about the word is a double-edged sword. And
Yeah.
in a way, we're, in my opinion, in a way, we're at war. I mean, it's good and evil, right and wrong, and not to be one of them type Christians. Well, I'm on the right side, but I mean, I've chosen life. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I'm in God's
I
army,
think I think we can pretty confidently say we're on the right side of this.
and but so if we're in the war, we're waging war, and it says obtain guidance. So if you wage war, obtain guidance. Well, where do we get our guidance from? Who gives us our guidance? Who's our captain, if I must say?
Yeah, be God.
That's right. And we're reading this Bible right here, and letting the Holy Spirit talk to us through it and move through us, and fellow Christians and stuff, we get together. That's you know what I'm talking about, like how the Holy Spirit
Yeah.
is moving in us and stuff. I'm sure I'm halfway confusing myself, but I think you see where I'm going. What you pull out of it?
Yeah, you kind of hit something on the guidance, and I think a lot of people don't know where to get that guidance from. I think a lot of people nowadays go to like gurus and
Yeah,
you know people that,
shrinks or something.
well, even more than that, you know, you see like the Andrew Tates of the world. People they think those kind of guys got all the answers and
Mm-hmm.
and different just people, but you know our guidance should come from God and come from His Word.
Yeah.
That should be our first stop is with Him.
What's it say about the word? I know that you'll know what I'm talking about, and I'm gonna paraphrase it terribly, but something the word was it? The word was God, the word is God, and the word.
In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God.
And
That's first couple chapters of, or first couple verses of John.
But it's like we have our it's gonna sound gooberish, but we have our manual right here, our combat manual. You know what I'm talking about? It's telling us how to wage war and stuff.
Yep. This is the Christian's Art of War book right here.
There you go. That's a good way to put it right there. That's a real good way to put it.
Uh-huh.
Have you got Proverbs out?
Yeah, I got Proverbs out.
Pull
I was kind of going through the ones you were reading, but one of them I kind of read earlier, and you might know it better than me. Is heck, I probably won't even go into that one because I wouldn't even be able to kind of. But we'll do something fun. Let's just pull out a random one. I'm just gonna flip to a random page here in Proverbs, and we'll just kind of go, or maybe we'll pull a little bit of wisdom out of it.
Don't flip too
All
far,
right.
you can end up in Psalms.
So I'm here in chapter 4, verse 17.
Hold on, let me find it.
It says, all right.
I flipped too far. I went to Psalms.
You warning me about it now. You. You have to kind of go back to verse 14 to get the start of it.
Oh, right. So, chapter 4, you said verse what?
14, and then it goes over to 17.
All right.
But I'll go ahead and start it here. It says, "Do not enter the path of the wicked, and do not walk in the way of evil. Avoid it, do not travel on it, turn away from it, and pass on. For they do not sleep unless they have done evil. And their sleep is taken away unless they make someone fall. For they eat the bread of wickedness and drink the wine of violence." You got anything on that one? I think it's kind of, I mean, if I say something, it's kind of just hammering in the toll.
Clear from wrong.
Yeah, just how far God wants you to steer away from sin, and how bad He knows it is for us and our soul.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was reading up above it. Trying to get context, but do not set foot on the path of the wicked, or walk in the way of evildoers. Don't imitate them. Don't.
Yeah.
You know, you see people like that, them old prosperity preachers and stuff. I know me and you like to rag them out and stuff. That ain't what Christianity's about. We can clearly see that, so don't imitate it. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Avoid it, do not travel on it. Turn from it and go your own way. And you could probably, well, I don't think you could. I was going to say, turn and go your own way. You could almost pull out from what you preached on earlier about each going your own way. But,
yeah.
But, I mean, it says, to me, it's saying that we can clearly see that they're wrong and stuff, so don't imitate it. Don't let the devil get in your ear whispering to you, with like lust. Oh, well, it's just a girl in a bikini or something. Like, what's the harm in looking? Looking ain't a crime. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And away, number 16, for they cannot rest until they do evil. They're robbed of sleep till they make someone stumble. They ain't happy or content And you know what I'm talking about? I mean, whenever you get ready to
Yeah.
sleep, it's almost like I know that you can sleep in times of high stress and stuff like that, but I mean, it to
It's
me,
hard.
like, yeah, it's real hard for them to sleep unless they've caused somebody to stumble, or they don't find peace in what we do. They find peace in, I'm talking about evil.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. And you kind of got me on a good path. I mean, you just see the world today and just how wicked it is, and people just doing good. It just, I mean,
Eats
it
them
just,
up.
yeah, and that's how you know it's just straight from Satan, is and just I don't know. I've been on it here lately with just abortion. How it just eats them up to know that people want to keep babies alive, and it just eats them alive to know that.
Yeah.
To know that people don't want babies to be killed.
Well, you see some of them, they're bragging about how many they've had and whatnot.
Yeah.
Like it's joyous to them. That's not of my God. You know
No.
that's of
Uh huh.
some little G God. That that
Yeah.
that that's right there out of something that's going to end up in the lake of fire. And
Yeah.
not judging, but I mean, where they're getting that influence from, that's demonic. That's of the devil.
Uh huh.
They eat the bread of wickedness and drink the wine of violence. I know that they're kind of paraphrasing each other. I'm reading out of the NIV just because that's what I had open. What are you, New King James?
Yeah. New King James.
But it, what they eat and drink, I guess,
I mean, that's all they.
consume.
That's what they. Yeah. That's what they live off of.
Yeah, there you
Is
go. That's
wickedness and violence. It's
that's a
fun
real
picking these
good point.
apart.
Yeah, it is. It's real fun.
Uh, you got any on your mind?
Yeah, I had one more. I'll have to find it. There's like was saying, there's just so much. Uh, I'll pick another one. I'll just flip through and chapter 21, verse 11. Can you find that one?
Chapter 21. Yep. You go ahead and read it, and I'll find it.
When a mocker is punished, the simple gain wisdom. By paying attention to the wise, they get knowledge.
You said it was 21 verse what now?
11.
21 verse 11. When the scoffer is punished, the simple is made wise, but when the wise is instructed, he receives knowledge.
I don't like that one.
Yeah, let's just jump to another one.
How about verse 22? You should have it. I mean, chapter 22, verse 2. The rich and the poor have this in common. The Lord is the maker of all of them.
Yep. It kind of, I'm sure a lot of rich people back in the day didn't like that verse because it kind of puts us all on the same level, really.
Like I've heard a lot of people say, where we're all equal at?
In the grave.
Well, but the foot of the cross.
Oh yeah. I was kind of going in the grave because we're all dead. None of this, how much money you had, is really gonna matter.
No,
It's all
you're
gonna
right about that.
But yeah. Jumping over into another thing. I know you kind of had a little bit of a philosophical thing. You were asking me, kind of how the devil operates with us and how he might be tempting us in certain ways.
Yeah,
A lot
the
of people
question was, or I don't, go ahead.
I was going to say that, some people think, the devil can read your mind. And I don't think that's true because he's not omnipotent. He's only where he is. I really don't think, a lot of times when we're going through spiritual warfare. I don't even think it is Satan. It's probably demons, but it's not really Satan
Those little
himself.
fingerlings is what it is.
Yeah, but whether demons or anybody that can read our mind or how they change our thoughts. And I'll let you go ahead and your train of thought on that.
Yeah, the way I put it is, I believe that the only person that can read my mind is Jesus Christ. The Trinity.
Yeah.
Uh, I the best way I know how to put it, that I'll explain it, makes sense to me, is I don't think the devil can read your mind, but I think that he can slip things in. Almost, the cartoon in a way where you got an angel sitting on your shoulder and a devil sitting on your shoulder.
Yeah.
It's gonna sound goofy, but it's almost like you can have a devil on your. I say devil, but demon, demonic influence, evil spirit, whatever you want to call it, sitting on your shoulder, and just kind of whispering, like slipping little
Yeah.
thoughts in here. It's almost like it reminds me whenever I go fishing. I bait that hook up and I make it look pretty. Old bluegill, he don't know no difference. You know what I'm talking about? I'm trying to get him to bite, and that's the same thing that I
Uh-huh.
feel like the devil's trying to get us to do. Like I laughed at it now, but whenever you sent me that video and it said, what were you talking? Oh, how we need to go our separate ways. I said, oh Lord, what's this about? You know what I'm talking about? Like,
Uh-huh.
and looking at it now, why should I even let that thought cross my mind? You know what I'm talking about? It was the devil slipping a thought in. It was a big old pretty fishing lure, and here I am, the fish, and he was trying to get me to bite. You know what I'm talking about? Because
Uh-huh.
whenever he can throw, for some reason, I feel like God. I'll put it this way. I feel like, and I'm not speaking for God or anything, but I truly feel like He's given me and you the same calling and called us pretty close to the same time and lets us experience a lot of the same trials and tribulations and stuff so that we have each other to rely on. And
Yeah.
because we support each other and what's the word I'm looking for? We share and uplift and encourage each other and stuff like that. And if one of his demons or demonic influence can get in there and just throw it off, you know what I'm talking about, and get me to bite, that, oh, well, he's talking about me, blah, 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 you know what I'm talking about, and throw that off, it, it kind of try to throw a wrench in what God has planned for me and you. You know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about? And
Uh-huh.
I hope that explained the way I feel about it.
Yeah. I'm kind of like along the same kind of thoughts there. I definitely don't think he can read our minds or any demons can read our minds, but I think they kind of try to find a end with you, and they're very smart. They are. They study your patterns and study what makes you mad, and they
Hey,
can
I don't mean to interrupt you,
they'll-
but uh, going on that right there, you can go into familiar spirits with that, like the medians and stuff like that, how they sit there and say, oh, well, your grandmother said she had a dog and she only ever told you that its name was Pickles or something like that. You know what I'm talking
uh-huh.
about? Like, because they watch. I mean, like you said, they're intelligent. They're not stupid.
Oh
They,
yeah.
you know what I'm talking about? And then they can use an end through that lady whenever they're whispering in her ear and make you
Uh-huh.
believe that it's your grandmother and stuff. That's why they're
Yeah.
called familiar spirits. They're familiar with you. I mean,
Yeah.
they know my great 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 granddaddy that came over on the Mayflower. You know what I'm talking about? I mean,
Uh-huh. Yeah, they're definitely smart. You got to give them that, and they've been at it for thousands of years, so they picked up on some things. They understand human behavior a whole lot
yeah,
better than we do, and they kind of I think they kind of put those little whispers in your ear. They don't know what you're thinking, but they know how to change your thinking. They know how to kind of guide your thinking to cause you to sin.
yeah.
I think that's kind of where they're going.
And like what we were talking about just a second ago, familiar spirits, they're familiar with you. They know what you like and what's wrong that you like and stuff like that. You know what I'm talking about? I mean,
Yeah.
you can be scrolling, have an alcoholic scrolling Facebook or something. They mess with the algorithm. You get what I'm saying? And have somebody drinking an ice cold beer on there that they
Uh-huh.
think cause that man to stumble, or somebody that deals with like lust or something like that. They can have a half naked lady come across the screen on TV or something like that. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Yeah. The whole spiritual thing is kind of, far beyond our realm of thinking, but you can kind of see in the ways they operate. You can kind of see their channels they work through, and it's definitely through like media and stuff, and just the little whispers in our mind. When you see that naked lady or you see that beer, you're like, oh, that beer looks so good. It would sure be nice if you could just get you a hold of one, just one more time, just one more little drink, and it ain't gonna hurt nothing. They just put them little whispers in your ear and just begging you to, you know, head out to the liquor store.
I'm sorry, I was thinking about ice cold beer. I'm joking. Believe you me, there's times. I mean, I'm not afraid to admit it that I'm like, you get done cutting the grass on a hot summer day. I'm like, man, I'd go for a beer, you know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I was never a heavy drinker, but my favorite pastime would Friday night I would crack me open a beer and watch a movie, and that was some more fun to me. Even now, I haven't done it in probably 3 years, but still, even now, it's just like, man, that sure does sound good right about now. And them demons will fill my head up with that junk. That's about all I can think of.
Yeah. And we're not discussing, that's a whole nother discussion. And I know that Christians take both sides of it, where you can drink and you can't drink or anything. But I think that me and Carson have both come to the conclusions that it being in the Word for us personally, we choose not to drink. And
Yeah,
we're not, you know what I'm talking about?
yeah,
It's still kind of up to debate for us whether I don't care what anybody says. Drunkenness is a sin or anything like that. But it, I don't know. Take it from there, Wilkie.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, we definitely haven't taken a hard line stance on any of it, but yeah, definitely drunkenness. But
I guess
as far as
personally,
drinking goes,
yeah.
yeah, truthfully, we just really don't know. We don't think it is as of right now, but it's just one of them things we just don't know, and probably won't
We're
know
just
until we.
just kind of teeter totter on it back and forth. But
But
as a personal choice and men of
yeah,
God, we choose not to for our own selves.
yeah, and considering we're in the ministry and to become pastors one day, we're laymen's now, but to become pastors one day, we have to hold ourselves to a higher standard, and
That's right.
considering that drinking kind of can lead you down a bad path, and we just choose not to.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And what else? Oh, we were talking about. I kind of took us down a rabbit hole, but going back to demonic thoughts and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah. What else was it you had on that? You had said something earlier about it.
I'm drawing a blank here. To be honest, I can't remember.
Yeah, but I guess kind of going back to first thing we touched on, Phil Robertson, kind of end things off. I kind of got to thinking earlier. Me and you kind of have our own kind of caves in our life that kind of drew us out of, or kind of
Hey,
pulled us out of.
I can pull that back to Proverbs. I got it right here. Give me just 1 second.
I'll kind of tie this all on a neat little old bow, can't we?
Yeah, hold on just a second. It's going to take me just a second to find it. Keep talking. I don't like that ear.
Well, kind of from my personal experience, I wasn't. I don't even know if you would call me saved before I got married to my wife, and she was heavily into church, and I wasn't at all. I wasn't even really going, but she got me into church, and you know, I ended up really just giving myself to God and walking with Him, and now I'm called to ministry, and it's just kind of a crazy thing that happened to me. I mean, if you'd asked me the day before I got married if I'd ever seen myself where I am now, I would have told you a hard line no.
Man, I think that goes for both of us, though. I mean, on all honesty and stuff. Like I've said before, I mean, if you'd asked us a year ago or 2 years ago if we would be preaching and trying to spread the message and spread the word of God and stuff, I think we both laughed at you.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've been content even when I first started my walk with just being just a church pew sitter and just kind of coming in on Sundays. But deeper I got into it, he kind of filled me with passion to serve him, and it's kind of led me where I'm at now.
Yeah, and I think that it's helped my wife grow to kind of tall, like you said. I think that it has helped my wife, like seeing somebody like me that never really cared, and then halfway got a bad taste left in his mouth from one preacher that she grew up in a church. I'm not gonna name names or anything. That's all water under the bridge to me. But to find like the preacher that we have now and stuff, and see how he is with people and the gentleness that he uh, has really helped her. Like she had bad anxiety whenever we first got together and married. You know what I'm talking about? And like everybody, I think, has a tinge of it. Like if I'm saved and stuff, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And like she's helped me on things, and I've helped her like through that and stuff. There's been times where I've had to sit her down and talk to her about it, and she's mine's more social anxiety. She says, "Colby, you're worrying over nothing. You know what I'm saying?"
yeah,
But it's 18:22. Um, he who finds a wife, he who finds a wife finds what is good and receives favor from the Lord. That I read that one the other day whenever I was looking through there, and not to sound like a little girl, but it almost brought me to tears because I know that the good Lord gave her to me and vice versa. You know what I'm talking about? I couldn't see myself with anybody else. Wouldn't want to see myself with anybody else. There's been times where I think we've both been ready to strangle each other, but I'd run through a brick wall for that woman, and I think she'd do the same. I think she would.
yeah, yeah. You kind of put a new little perspective on it for me, because I mean I've heard that one before. I've read it before, but I always kind of read it as this is a long time ago. I kind of just saw it as you're kind of just doing a good thing getting married, but now you kind of put a new light on it. It's like, especially kind of for me, because she's the one that kind of got me into church. I don't know, it's
Like you said, a different perspective, and
yeah,
yeah, but it really spoke to me whenever it said, it's just another one of my blessings. I think that's what really moved me is that the Lord favored me and gave me her. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
It
uh-huh,
really, it really moved me.
yeah, yeah, it yeah, that's a pretty good one, because it just kind of the way it kind of strikes me is, he who finds a wife finds a good thing, because and obtains favor from the Lord, because I obtained a good thing through her, and meeting her kind of got me into the church and got me closer to God and drew me closer to Him. Increased my love for Him through her.
Right. And it's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Will actually, it could be too that was the woman for you and Kenzie was the woman for me, because we're going to have to deal with other people that struggle with these issues and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
vice versa. Really, the test and the patience part, that really. But anyways, everybody, I think we're going to wrap it up right there. Our hearts and our prayers go to the Robertson family with the loss of Phil. He was a good man, and we were really sad to hear that he passed, but he's in a greater place.
Yeah, we can't be happier about that though. He's with Jesus now, and can't help but
That's where
rejoice
we
for
all
that.
strive to be.
Yeah. But we appreciate y'all coming out and listening to us. We hope and pray y'all have a great week, and
that's right.
Hope to see y'all next week.
This is
Yeah.
One more thing before we go. If questions, comments, anything that you want us to cover, or if you've made it this far, be sure to drop a comment, like, subscribe, share, tell your friends about it.
Yeah, check out. You can come look at our TikTok, see our pretty faces, and check out our little micro sermons.
But anyways, this is Preacher Colby.
It's Preacher Carson.
And we'll catch you next go round. Good night, everybody.